Happy Tuesday, everybody. We made it to another episode of the Final Whistle. And I got my rowdy group of guys with me. But before we go, hit that like, subscribe button. This is the Final Whistle on the Bama Standard, your number one source for Bama content. We had a crazy 8-day weekend. We got a lot to cover, and we're going to discuss it. But first, let me introduce this All-American, All-World cast. Chris James, how are you today, my brother?
Dude, I'm on a high, man. Just coming back from 8-day in Tuscaloosa with you guys, man. And, dude, we just got a lot to talk about.
I heard that. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Around the Table Sports, he does it all. He's been in contact with Blaze Hayes. We don't know where he is. But ladies and gentlemen, Around the Table Sports, hit him up. Ty Hayes, how are you doing today, sir?
Yeah, I had to send Blaze to a boarding school. He got a little too cantankerous for his own good. And, from what I heard, he organized some like French Revolution style breakout over at the boarding school, and now they have to deal with that. That's just unfortunate. But we're here to go, ready to roll.
Let's go, ready to roll.
The word of the day. I like that, Ty. Cantankerous.
It's stuck in my head from the Jamie Foxx SNL bit years ago where he was like, the pit bull was cantankerous, and it's never left my head since then.
My wife uses that word.
Almost like
Listen, I don't know what it means, but I know what Debo means, and that's Lushan. How are you today, sir?
Man, I'm still on a high from this weekend, man. A-Day was powerful, y'all. I mean, like Chris said, we got a lot to talk about. Great weekend, lots of fun, but we got to get into some things, fellas. Let's go.
We do. We got a lot to get in, and we know this guy got into a lot of bingo night hall dancing this past weekend. He couldn't make it to Tuscaloosa, but I'm quite sure he made plenty of money. Sponsored by Buick LeSabre, the Jitterbug phone. Dan James, how are you?
How did we get here with me and bingo night? How did we arrive to this? Yeah, man, I'm always good, man. Sorry I couldn't be there with you guys, man. Circumstances. But hey, ready for a action-packed show, man. You know what I'm saying? Y'all hit that like and subscribe. Y'all, we got a good show for y'all tonight.
We do. And what's going to make this show even better, we got the one and only Jalen Milroe's biggest fans, the guy who was banned from Gillettes this weekend. That's why you didn't see him on the strip. Daniel Patty, how are you today, sir?
I'm magical, man. Banned from Tuscaloosa. They just wouldn't even let me in the whole city. Man, this is the second show I've been on tonight. This cast is much better looking than the previous. But I've now heard twice that everybody's still high from A-Day. Look, I know the herb was good when I was in T-Town, but what they got now, y'all high 3 days later.
Listen, they got a new California connection coming in.
No, man, I'm excited to be here talking about little Alabama football. There was a lot to break down after a very exciting A-Day. And look, man, from the pictures, you guys had a hell of a time yourselves.
We did. And, before we get started talking about A-Day, let's talk about our sponsors, Workspace Solutions, workspacepros.com. If you're looking to take your businesses to another level, online marketing, they do it all. Listen. workspacepros.com. So, guys, let's get into A-Day, guys. Let's just kind of talk about Kalen DeBoer's first A-Day, having 72,000, I think 358 or 538, whichever one. Guys, Kalen DeBoer's first A-Day. Listen, let's just discuss it. Let's go around the horn. Chris, give us your thoughts regarding A-Day and your biggest surprise. You're mute.
Speechless.
Auburn fans, let them get you. You can't let Auburn fans get you.
I know they didn't. A-Day was great, man. We had that alumni flag football game a few hours before A-Day, and as I was walking up to, to come up underneath to the locker room, the line was like a bunch of lines. Like people were outside standing waiting to get into the stadium like 3 hours before kickoff. So that was crazy, man. It felt good to see, T-Town filled with that type of excitement again. And to get to the game, man, that offense, man, woo, those guys were clicking, man. The way those backs ran, the O-line protected well, and it was some throws that Milroe made that he didn't make last year. All the quarterbacks seemed content. You could tell Austin Mack was kind of young. You could tell he's a younger guy, but man, that guy had so much potential, man. I think he's a couple of years away, but I feel good if something was to happen to Milroe. I feel great that we're still in good hands with both Ty Simpson and Dylan Lonergan. Lonergan's release is so quick, man. He gets the ball out like that. As far as just looking at the defensive line, man, they have some get off. They're like just the way that they look, man. The whole team, it looks like they're faster. They're reshaped. They reshaped. I've seen some reshaped bodies, man. Like you didn't see linemen that were too wide or with guts, man. Like those guys were man. They look like machines, like creative players, man. And just the speed of the guys. Justin Okoronkwo, how you pronounce it, Ty?
Ty Okoronkwo.
Okoronkwo.
Hey,
Okoronkwo, man.
Okinawa.
Dude, listen here, y'all.
Okinawa.
Listen here, y'all. That kid right there, man, he is going to be special. I'm telling y'all, mark these words today. That kid right there can play some football, man. He was flying around and made some plays, man. That kid there, of course, you got what you expected out of, Malachi and Saab, those guys like that. Even Xavier Brown, just the confidence that he played with, man. That's good to see from a freshman. But another surprise is Cole Adams.
What you gonna name the whole team?
I mean, I'm counting like, bro.
I'm telling you, man. Like it was crazy, man. That's how good we look, man. Cole Adams.
That's 7
I'm
surprises.
gonna go ahead and finish out. Hubbard, Richard Young, man. Those young guys. That was the story.
You're not gonna leave it for us, man.
Next segment, he covered it off.
Don't hate, man.
I was like, okay, I counted 4.
Hey,
I was like,
I get excited, man, when I start talking about those kids, man. I get excited, dude.
I know.
I started texting the massage parlor so I could get a surprise. It said they booked up by. They said it's booked up by Hugh Freeze, so I couldn't get in.
They booked up for the next 2 years.
Y'all need help me.
Ty Hayes, if you can find something that Chris has not mentioned, please give us your surprises. Or just even if you talked about somebody, just kind of dive in and what really stood out for you.
Listen, Todd in the chat will attest to this. Ever since Justin Okoronkwo put pen to paper, I have maintained he was the steal of this recruiting class. 6'3", 225 pounds, runs a 4.5 at worst. I mean, he's probably in the 4.4 range. This kid can play. It's his first game in the United States. For those of you that follow recruiting, go check out Brandon Collier. He runs PPI Recruits, and I swear to you, PPI Recruits, in my opinion, is one of the coolest things out there. He goes around the world, he finds cats that can play football, and he sends them to colleges. Hero Canoe at Ohio State. Played 3 games in California in his senior year of high school. This was the COVID year where everything was happening in the spring. 3 games, had 36 offers. He has an eye for talent. And right now, if I'm not mistaken, he has the first player ever that he's found from Gambia, Africa. Some kid has like a 7'3" wingspan. That dude is so cool. I would love to interview him. We're going to talk about the defense later. I have some thoughts about that. We're going to talk about the quarterbacks later. I have some thoughts on that. I'll give you one more name and then I'll pass it. I think Jeremiah Beeman had some really good reps. And whenever we're talking about this interior defensive line, it's great to have these guys really showing out. And that excited me. Edric Hill, really excited about this defensive front.
Lushan.
Well, it's kind of hard to follow up the massive list that was just given and then Ty's follow up, but
Chris,
I am
CBS receipt.
I am going to hit this from a few different angles.
Pause.
I saw I saw Robbie Oots cleaning people out of the way. And when I say cleaning, like I was there, guys. Like, I mean, like that first run that was a touchdown that was blown up the middle, that was Jaden and Robbie Oots just blew a hole in the middle of our defensive line. You know, it irked me on the one hand, but on the other hand, I'm like, man, that's going to be a mean combination. They said he was like up to 270. Man, he looks like a robot. And he man, I'm telling you what, with this scheme and the different tight end sets, plus all the wide receivers, plus that we have 3 strong running backs, it's going to be different. And I want to say what surprised me on the defensive side of the football is that the young inside linebackers stayed in phase. They didn't shy away from the plays, and actually a few of them made some plays and stood out. So it was kind of exciting to see that, you know, the young guys getting out there and making plays.
Like it. Dan James.
Yeah, man. From what I seen from the screen, you know, that Chris didn't name. I don't know. I think he may have. You know, one guy that stood out to me is Jeremy Bernard, man. You know, and I think he's in for a big year. You know, just because he's seen, you know, he's familiar with the offense. He's seen confident in it, and I was surprised with the, you know, connection that he and Milroe seem to have. You know, his ability to go up and grab the ball. You know, I liked it. I like what I saw from him. That's one person, you know, to keep it at one, since I talked so bad about my brother.
Patty.
Big brother, get it right.
I started texting some escorts for Hugh Freeze when Chris was going off. Did he I think I might mention one though. Did he mention Richard Young?
Yes.
Yeah. Go.
He named the whole roster.
Yeah, I didn't know if there'd be one I could catch that he didn't look, man. Hey,
he even went on to walk-ons. Yeah, Lushan beat me to it. Yeah, he.
That damn water boy made some H2O that was high class.
Hey, did you see that boy that was holding up the walkie-talkie? He was a professional.
No, I think we knew what to expect out of Jam and Justice, but that Alabama running back room is reminiscent of the middle Saban days where the third string running back was just as good as the starter. I think we're going to have a 3-4 headed monster. Daniel Hill looked great in his time. But man, I know I'm the guy here that catches the most heat for my Jalen Milroe criticism. So I would be remiss not to talk about, you know, it's a spring game. You can only take so much. But the thing I've been the most critical of is Milroe's mid-game passing. I believe it was the second pass of the game. He threw a flag route, and I'm sorry if it's called Y2 banana now or some shit, but in my day it was called a flag route. It was that, you know, that 20, 25 yard range pass that he really struggled. A lot of times he'd throw 10 yards over the receiver's head, and he just threw a dime. And there were several 15, 20 yard intermittent passes that he threw over the middle that were dropped later on. He just had a poise about him, even though it was a practice, that you could see the leadership. And look, man, the debate, you can debate all you want. He's the starter, and he showed that, and there's nothing that can take it away. But don't get upset when people are excited about Ty Simpson. The exciting thing is, man, football is a crazy-ass sport. Anytime you're one play away from stepping on that football field, the exciting thing is we got some dudes behind Jalen that if he comes out, you know, it's not going to be Jalen, but we're going to be okay because, man, Ty Simpson was making the throws. Like you alluded to, Chris, man, Lonergan's his pass looks beautiful. So, you know, more than anything, we got some guys backing up that can get it done if anything were to happen. But no, Milroe really looked good in that mid-range passing game, even though it was just scrimmage. It's a lot to take from and be excited about. But him and just the running back room, you can't not be just good. Gosh, man, they all look the same. I said this on the last show, man. They all look cut from the same cloth. So excited about all that. I mean, and then one more thing, in this offense, these running backs are going to thrive. He didn't have guys like this in Washington, and he had a 1,000-yard back. Man, these running backs, they're going to be hell because of how dangerous the passing game is.
I agree.
And Justin Matt, he said surprise. It's an S on the end. It say biggest they surprise. It says surprise. This.
you opened the door for you, Chris. They opened it up, man.
But Chris, You know,
Open the
we
door.
got a panel. We got other guys too as a team. You can't hold.
Hey, I'm just cranking up the car for like when it's ice on the car, somebody go outside and warm it up.
We didn't say anything until you got the player number 12.
Yeah. Well, listen, I'm
That's
gonna try
why
to
he's
round
Iron
this
Man.
out and name
Chris,
all
you started naming people in the arts and sciences department. I mean, I thought you were going to go over to Reese Pfeiffer at some point. Good Lord, son.
Y'all didn't even give me a chance. Y'all didn't even give me a chance to name the flag game MVP. You know what I'm saying?
Wasn't it you?
It was George
No.
Teague. 40-yard touchdown.
It was Matt Miller.
Matt Miller.
Matt's Steven mate.
Well, listen, I'm gonna round this out. I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna take a different turn. Some of the biggest surprises that really kind of stood out for me, and I hate to be Debbie Downer, but the kicking game. I was a little bit disappointed in Connor Talty. I think that's something we're gonna have to address. As far as if we're looking to beat these Georgias and all these teams. I'll just say this. I miss Will Riker. Not having Will Riker back there is totally different. Ooh. So hopefully Connor Talty can get it squared away. I remember DeBoer saying it was an open competition, but I'm interested to see how they address that in the portal. Thought the offensive line did good. Petty, as you all said, Richard Young, amazing. Another surprise, no bad snaps. I mean, let's go. I mean, that was.
Hey, that was my pick to click, the center.
I'm so glad.
Won.
What'd you say? What'd you say? But yeah, no bad snaps. That was good to see. We mentioned Milroe, but another thing that was surprising to me, we had about 4 or 5 drops from the receivers, which I thought, I just knew these guys were going to be, a lot better at catching the ball. I think Milroe some guys dropped balls right in their hands. So I'm quite sure all that stuff is going to get ironed out. We know it's just a spring game. You kind of assess where you are now and what you need to work on. But, another surprise, just seeing Coach Saban not on the sideline, seeing him in the suit, in the skybox. That was a bit of a surprise for me because, we've seen him roam the sidelines for 17 years straight, but he's still out there recruiting. He's still out there supporting the Crimson Tide. So, before we close out this topic, anything else anybody want to say? Or Chris, I know you got something.
Hey, but on all seriousness, though, is one guy, Brayson Hubbard, man.
He made the wood.
That boy was sideline to sideline, man. Don't be surprised, guys. Don't be surprised.
Oh yeah. What 188 surprise, man? I got to bring it up. Marvin was on fire about it. Want to hear you other guys that played for the Tide's thoughts, man. He's a little concerned about that fifth safety and that 4-2-5 holding up in the SEC. And,
because we were in it. We were in it anyway in our nickel package with the star. Same thing. It's the same thing.
But to Marvin's defense, Richard Young was bulldozing them.
Yeah, I mean,
where were the tackles?
It was 3 guys around him. He ran them all over. I was like, "Ooh,
dude!" I saw Richard Young Friday in the hotel lobby, and that dude is huge. Y'all hear me? And Justin said Justice Haynes was huge.
Oh, you Migos now in the hotel lobby.
Yeah, but it is the SEC. Backs are going to be bigger than that. There's going to be backs 225 and 230. And I mean, he does have a valid point.
Those days are cutting down, though. With his passing offense.
Tribal Chief, guys. Tribal Chief.
Final whistle. Acknowledge me.
Right.
There we go. No, Chris is absolutely right. I mean, Richard Young is an absolute stud. And when he wasn't just straight bulldozing people, he was faking them out of their cleats. So the kid's versatile. I really I don't hate it for defenses, but if you're on the other side of the ball late in the season and you're dead ass tired, you put this guy in the lineup, it's over. And if he comes to take a rest, then Daniel Hill's going to be put into there. It's just going to be a sad day for defenses, but for Bama, we'll be celebrating. And despite the entire laundry list of players that Chris named, he left off one person. And that's Dre Kirkpatrick Junior.
Ooh,
Dre with the
pick. The way he broke on that ball, I mean, it was just I made me all tingly. It looked like he is ready from day one. Sorry,
He was
no
Tingly,
Diddy.
I can confirm that.
No
I can
Diddy.
confirm
You
that.
said
He was,
no Diddy.
he was
No Diddy.
Tingly, wasn't he, Chris?
Nah, but no Diddy. No, he just broken the ball like a seasoned pro. This kid looks on loan to us from the NFL. Really excited about what he's going to do. Wouldn't be surprised if he gets put in the lineup sooner rather than later.
I agree.
And one thing
Well,
I'll say about Richard Young, he ran this is his second year in the program in an Alabama strength and conditioning room. And he was a beast. If he runs over a true freshman that hasn't been in a strength and conditioning room for 6 months, I'm not going to worry.
Yeah.
Ray
Morgan. Yeah.
Yeah, but he also ran over some linebackers too.
Yeah,
but y'all gotta understand, Campbell and
Jones
Otis didn't play.
Uncle
I didn't see Otis out there. Did Otis play?
No, him and Campbell did not play.
They warmed up. But I just think they held him out because they were fine. I posted a video of the D-line warming up, and he was there, and Campbell was too. So I think it just no need to.
Vanilla ice cream.
All in all, we know it's all vanilla. I think it was a good opportunity to assess and see where the team is at, kind of work some things out, and I think it's a good, launching pad for the team, the coaching staff to evaluate and get better come the fall training camp. But speaking of getting better, if you want to get a title towel, go to wetwillsports.com. Title towel, they were full in effect, wetwillsports.com. Please hit the promo code STANDARD. That's the promo code STANDARD at Wet Will Sports Title Town. So, guys, we discussed the 8A. God, let's talk about Alabama's QB room. We discussed Milroe. I just think as a whole, I'll set it up like this. I just think, as Ty has mentioned the past couple weeks, talking about how Milroe's finally had a QB coach, having somebody into him. It just looked like those guys having all these offensive minds, Brian Ellis, Kalen DeBoer, Nick Sheridan, Jamarcus Shepard. These guys just look so much more fluent. I mean, I'm looking at just Milroe and Ty Simpson feeling pressures. I just think having somebody believe in Milroe and these quarterbacks is taking them to the next level, having that quarterback coach. And one thing that just really stood out for me with Milroe, he looked poised, calm, and collected. And I think that was something that he did not have the past 2 years, And I think now he's got a Nick Sheridan, somebody that truly believes in him and is putting in that encouragingness to him. I think that's going to just showing dividends for Milroe and all the quarterbacks. I mean, I'm just looking at Ty Simpson and Milroe, how they moved the pocket, evaded pressure, being able to keep their eyes downfield. I just think that was just so much important for us. So let's go reverse this time. Let's go Petty, your favorite quarterback. I think this is perfect for you to grade Alabama's QB room.
Oh man, I give it an A because you got the progression that you look, and there's still more to go always with anybody, but you got the progression you wanted to see out of Milroe, and just what you said, man, he was so cool and calm Saturday. He just looked like a guy that was in control, and it was his team. But again, what I said earlier, man, regardless if there's an injury, anything happens, you got to have somebody there to pick up the slack, and that's where you got to be excited. And that's where the grade comes in. It's not just top end. There's talent all throughout that room, and Simpson showed great touch on the ball, showed great ability moving around in the pocket, and same with Lonergan. And I thought I think Mack showed what Chris was talking about, or maybe you were, Matt, a week ago. He's still going to be a little raw. And that was evident. He still got, but good gracious, if he doesn't look the part. So no, man, I think this room is as deep as it was raw last year. Now I don't think it's raw. I just think it's deep. So I absolutely, man, I'm excited as hell about that. I'm excited as hell about this offense. I think it's going to be truly, truly dangerous, man. I think it's going to be one of the best offenses Bama's had. So there you go. Ben, I'm gonna let him play quarterback just a few more. I'm gonna give him one more chance at quarterback. He's on thin ice, but he looked just good enough Saturday for me to let him roll against Murray McNeese State in the first game.
Great.
Wait a minute, just good enough. You gave him an A.
Oh, I'm messing with Van. No, I think Milroe looked great, man. Again, I don't think there's any debate. Like he's the obvious leader of this team.
And I don't know, transfer portal opened today, and a report broke about Ty Simpson saying that he's staying. I think to your point, Petty, that's huge for Alabama. I think
absolutely.
In the age of transfer portal, NIL, I think this guy gets it. I think it's worth
he does
celebrated that he's staying. And look, I think he's going to be a Mac Jones 2.0. All thing he's going to need is that 1 year. He's going to be, phenomenal, have opportunity in NFL in this Kalen DeBoer's offense. So to your point, Smoking Bud, being a QB at Alabama, you only need 1 year. So
that's right.
I think I just want to celebrate Ty and give him his flowers. And as always, Ty Hayes, we got to celebrate him. Ty, I want to ask you a question. Is this the best QB room in the country?
That's certainly one of them. Listen, Ty Simpson could go anywhere and play, and that's why I think a lot of people thought that maybe he would enter the portal. But one thing I'd like to point out, first and foremost, what better offensive mind is there out there that needs a quarterback? There's not, right? Kalen DeBoer is a top 5 offensive mind in the country. This is a perfect place for him. 2, he's cut from a different cloth. 3, whenever you look at Ty Simpson, it wouldn't make sense to transfer now because then you would be learning a new system and entering a quarterback competition. That's right. It's the same reason I wasn't surprised when Quinn Ewers went to Ohio State and wasn't quarterback 2. He got there in August. It would have been stupid for Ryan Day to be like, you're quarterback 2, even though you don't know the offense, right? So listen, this quarterback room is insane. It is so good, and I'm really excited about that.
Dan James, give us your grade, sir.
Yeah, are we grading where we are now or the A-Day?
You can do whichever one. Let's grade where they are now.
Yeah, well, objectively speaking, I would say, I'll give them a B, which is pretty good. That's where you want to be. Going into the summer. I like some things, and hey, it's amazing what you can do when you get the ball snapped to you, right? So overall, I thought the quarterback looked pretty good. You know what I'm saying? There's always room for improvement, but generally speaking, I would say I'm satisfied. I'm a tough grader, so hence the B. But overall, I like what I saw from Milroe. I love, like Chris said, Lonergan, man, his release. And his command, he throws with confidence. I love his release. He's decisive with his throws. I love that about Lonergan. Ty Simpson is going to be amazing. He can, like Ty said, he can go any other way and play. He'd be Auburn's starter and backup right now.
Patty?
Oh, instantly.
Yes.
Oh, man. Well, appreciate that, Dan. Now let's shift to Lushawn. Give us your take regarding Alabama's QB room.
I like the competition, and I'm going to grade it on that. I saw a lot of competition out of these guys. Now, I'm not going to grade them on the playbook, on the actual plays they ran, because, let's face it, it was vanilla ice cream cone out there, We didn't really get to see how competitive they can truly be in this offense. So I'm going to take my grade on based on their competitive, and they're going to get a B+ from me because they were hungry the whole game. They showed fight, and they showed toughness throughout the game. I'm going to keep it simple. They're going to get a B+ from me.
I like it. Chris James, can you give us one letter grade, sir?
A-, simply because we have 3 guys that I feel are ready to play if need be and play at a high level. And just the improvement that Milroe has, that they both have made, because talent was never a problem for Ty Simpson, as he was kind of like a gunslinger, so to speak, like a Brett Favre. That's the type of quarterback he was. So to see him kind of rein it in and really be a game manager, which is not bad at all, but he's a game manager with extra capabilities. You get what I'm saying? So like Lonergan, all of them are. You have to be a game manager in order to be a quarterback, effectively play effective. You got to be a game manager first and foremost. But I just like what I saw from all three of them, man. And I like what I saw from Austin Mack. He's just young, like we said. But overall, man, I give it a A-.
A-. Well, I think we did a good job of discussing the QB room. Now let's shift to the defense. And we know it was a lot of reaction, overreaction, panic. I just think, first, it's the spring game. Everything was vanilla. The defense was only limited to so much. For me, I think the biggest cause for concern was the missed tackles initially. I feel like we missed a lot of tackles, and lack of aggression from the secondary, i.e. the corners. I'm so used to our corners coming up, filling in, whether it's Kool-Aid, Terrion, stopping the run. Those were kind of my concerns. Chris, you got your hand up. Your take, sir.
Let me take it. Like Lou and I was talking about this, and Lou was harping on it real big about Campbell and Otis not playing. That's like those are two guys in the middle. You know what I'm saying? It starts with them. Otis is a dog up front, and then oh Lord, hold on. I love you, man. But your middle line, your inside linebacker, and your three technique, like that's very important as far as the running game is concerned. Those are guys that can just taking two guys off the field. That can make a big difference. Just like way back in 2014, who was that got hurt? Reggie Ragland got hurt, and you insert Sean Dion Hamilton as a true freshman, and Zeke Elliott had a field day. Just because of, a simple assignment, that stuff happens. And then another name, you didn't see Jaleel Hurley out there. So, I mean, those are guys. I think that they were kind of mix and matching a lot on the defense side of the ball. And then you're not going to show your blitz packages, your run blitzes, your pressures. You're not going to show that in the spring game. We kept it vanilla. So, I mean, we just based it was kind of scrimmages are pretty much geared towards the offense. You know what I'm saying? Because the defense, they're not going to show their hands. So you basically already know what you're going to get pre-snap. You're not coming out of, you're not doing too many adjustments, making too many adjustments. So just a simple fact that, man, we'll be fine on defense. We'll be fine. I promise.
Let's go to Ty.
Yeah, so one of the things I'd first like to talk about is I want people to remember you just had a massive switch in the secondary in terms of going from match coverage, which Saban ran, to a more read and react coverage. And Chris, you could speak to that deeper than I could, but like that's a difference. I mean, it is a big difference, and it's something that they'll get acclimated to. The second thing I would tell you is this. Whenever you're in a situation where we have 13 scholarship offensive linemen, I believe off the top of my head, one of them wasn't there in Brailsford because, he's dealing with whatever he's got going on. And then Jaden Roberts is injured. Why in the world would you heat up an already shaky offensive line? Right? Like you're just trying to get out this game healthy. You wouldn't heat them up. That doesn't make any sense. And then whenever we actually dive into the schematics of this, if you take a Womack defense, which I think is going to be very good, and you run it vanilla against even a vanilla DeBoer offense, DeBoer's offense is all about creating assumptions and then taking advantage of the defense's incorrect assumptions. And that's what we saw. I think in the first half, you had a play. Justin Jefferson was on an actual blitz. He came into the gap right beside the center, and then Deontay Lawson stepped up as well. Well, that was because of some of the things DeBoer was doing in terms of his pre-snap motion. And this is even a A-Day DeBoer offense where they're not even going into page 2. They're not even getting into the second paragraph of this playbook. And already you can see the assumptions it's creating. That's why they cleaned it up in the second half. Listen, you're going to do some work in the transfer portal. I have my eyes on a few guys. If they enter the transfer portal, I have no doubt Alabama will jump on them. I'm looking at a defensive back that if he enters the transfer portal out the Big Ten, watch out. because this kid has big time player written all over him, and he's not a huge name quite yet. So this is the time for DeBoer and Alabama Crimson Tide to punch back. So I'm excited to see what happens in the transfer portal. Some interesting names in there thus far, but I think it's an overreaction about the defense. It's just one of those situations where, of course, the offensive implementation is going to be further ahead because you have wide receivers whose job isn't that different. You have running backs whose job isn't that different. So it's one of those. And smoking, no, it's not Will Johnson. It's someone, honestly, I like just as much. But it's not Will Johnson. Cat had 7 interceptions, though, and a 95-yard pick 6.
Does the school that he plays for, their colors white and red?
Yes.
And he's got a connection to Colin Hitchler?
Yeah.
Yes.
No news here. This is me just theorizing, right? And I want to get that. I want to get that note. This is me just hoping.
Carry on.
Just hoping.
You carry on.
Okay, now, Lushan, I'm gonna word your question a little bit different. What was your biggest disappointment from the defense, whether it could be a player or whoever? Give me. I know we mentioned this a little bit. You were breaking down some footage yesterday, telling me about some stuff. Could you kind of allude to like that conversation, sharing some of your biggest disappointment from the defense that you saw in the 8A game?
Well, kind of like how everybody said, I knew going into this game that it wasn't going to be, them trying to kill each other. Because I mean, let's all get back to reality. They're on the same team. We want to all be successful. We want them to all be healthy, which to me was a great issue because something happens and you lose an important player, and then we're really going to be in some serious issue. But I would say my main defensive concern, which they cleaned it up, it was in the first quarter. It kind of seemed like, and this is probably due to their youth, kind of like a little bit of a deer in the headlights. It wasn't like the moment was too big. It was just, their first time out there, and it was the youth. And it doesn't really cause me concern. It kind of gets me excited because it's only April. These guys got months. They got a whole summer, and they got here in January. So they started the process ahead of schedule. They're already ahead of where most people are in their due process. And we're going into summer with 5 DBs that are amazing, going into a summer program that we haven't even seen what it can do with athletes like this. So I would say I'm not exactly maybe concerned. I'm more so kind of giddy because I like the mistakes because that shows me that they're hungry. And if they weren't making mistakes, that would show me that they're kind of being scared. But the fact that they were willing to make those mistakes, that's a good thing in the process of an athlete.
I like that a lot. Great analysis. Mr. James.
Yeah, I think, why would we be concerned, after a spring game? We tend to, it's natural, to have overreaction. What if the offense couldn't move the ball? Would we be excited then? So spring game, it's give or take, So reason for concern, no. Not at all. We seen the basic things we need to see. I love how Okoronkwo was flowing to the ball. I like to see more wrapping up with the tackling. Stuff. It's spring. Stuff we need to get cleaned up for the summer, definitely for fall. But I think we're just overacting when it comes to the defense right now. Because we will know based on how we attack the portal. That'll give us where. Understanding how Coach DeBoer and Coach Womack are feeling about the defense.
Patty? Oh, you booked for next year at the Parlor? Is that what you were doing?
Yeah. I mean, it's like 3 years out. Freeze got that shit backed up. Spring games are dumb. If you're worried about something from a spring game, I don't really know what to tell you. You can take things away Like you can take positives like Milroe's mid-game passing, how well the quarterbacks look, Richard Young, maybe some concerns at tackling at the point of contact is a little suspect. But again, it's a spring game, man. There's a reason one state over they were having a hot dog contest and a tug of war and all that crap. So I don't know. I ain't worried about it. I think there's a lot of talent in the room. A lot of people, Otis didn't play much. The linebackers didn't all play together. I don't know. It's just I've been on record saying I think with the portal open 3 days after the spring game. How much were you really going to show? Because you got somebody's mama or their dad or their aunt or their grandmom. You promised my son to be a starter, and why wasn't he playing more in the spring game? Yada yada. You're just not going to do it, man. You're gonna. Spring games are going to become more obsolete and more vanilla as you go. And again, that's the reason you saw Kiffin what he did at Ole Miss, because they're pointless. You get what you get out of practice. You get nothing out of that game. You're not going to win anything. The worst that can come from it is an injury. And luckily I don't think there were any major injuries that came out of it. So got lucky on that regard, but don't take anything from it other than the few positives you can take from seeing growth from the guys.
Chris?
This is the time. I think spring is the time that you should have your spring games against those FCS opponents. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody's talking about, you need to stop playing FCS opponents, blah, blah, blah. Do it during the spring. Have a spring game, pay them a little something, get them to come up and have a real spring game after spring ball's over with. And, that's when you play your Jacksonville States and, teams like that. That's what
I don't hate the idea. But I would then hate the idea if a Jalen Milroe got hurt against a Jacksonville State. You know what I mean? And then it'd be like, oh my God. And Chris, I will say this. He says Alabama's A-Day defense looked just like South Alabama's real defense for the last 3 years. As long as they're better than New Mexico State or just as good as New Mexico State University, we'll handle y'all.
You better shut up before I go get Maryland.
Throws the ball.
Hey, you better shut up before I go get Maryland on them.
Without Talia Tagovailoa, which is crazy.
Right.
Yeah, great analysis from all you guys. Amazing job. Now let's get to the classroom and let's have a education to sit down with the fans. We need to address fan reaction, overreaction. Petty said, listen, it's spring game, nothing to get too serious. I think you mentioned the most important thing is for everybody to be healthy. You kind of know where you are. It's not going to be perfect. But listen, I want to address one thing I don't think nobody's talking about is the field. I know a lot of fans are like, what's going on with the field? Listen, it's just a spring game. Listen, word on the street, they're preparing the field for if Alabama has to play a home playoff game in the playoffs. So I think they're doing a different type of treatment. So that's one issue I want to discuss. Let's see. Let's start. Lushan, is there anything you want to address regarding fan reaction and overreaction?
I mean, just basically telling the Walmart fans to just get off it. I mean, it's the springtime. What are you going to get from it? I mean, yeah, we saw some hits. Yeah, I mean, my initial reaction, I was a little bit, taken aback by what was happening, but it was all in the excitement of the game. But the reality of the matter is, it was a spring game, like everybody said. There ain't nothing to worry about. What we need to do, and I will address something. We as a fan base need to trust in DeBoer.
Yep.
We need to trust in his vision and what he wants to do with this team moving forward. That's where I'm at. That's where I think everybody on this panel's at. And if you ain't on that train, you need to hop on it.
I agree. Dan?
Yeah, like I said, one thing I want to stress to the fans, be patient, give it time, no reason to overreact. Van
and legs.
He said he about to hit the transfer portal.
No, Gizzle too got the neck. Don't forget the Gizzle.
Chris said he about to hit the transfer.
And those Asian secret sauces.
Oh man.
Oh man.
How like Chris's comment, Justin? He's about to hit the transfer portal.
Everyone else has.
Listen,
Bro,
man.
hey,
Chris, bring some.
that's
of
a
your
victory.
Auburn
Chris, are you finally joining the dark side? You coming over to the evil empire finally? Hey,
We'll accept you.
I'll send you a shirt.
And we got real women up here. You wouldn't know massage parlors, and you don't leave Alabama with dicks drooping.
Eugenics.
You don't need eugenics.
Dan, speaking of I'm just playing, I ain't gonna do it like that.
Hey man, you know what I'm saying? Nobody mentioned, what a special day it was yesterday. No thanks
Happy
to all of
birthday,
y'all.
man.
And just let you know.
Happy birthday.
Big 50.
What's
Big
going on?
Surprise.
Justin, what's going on,
Make
man?
it come down. Chris, make it come down.
Huh?
Do it. Do your thing. Do the little diddy.
Yeah.
So instead of giving the lap dances, you were getting the lap dances. From the
Right.
Hey, Dan, your big brother loves you, man.
Only thing is,
Big
man,
brother loves you, dog.
I had to tip him to get up.
Oh man, too funny. Let's see, Ty, is there something you want to address the fans? Overreaction.
Listen, I think Lushan hit the nail on the head, to be honest with you. He had everything I want to say. I will say, though, overreactions come from just being a passionate fan base. And one thing you can say about Alabama, it's one of the most passionate fan bases out there, right? It is what it is. I'll tell you what was an overreaction, though, gentlemen. I told everybody, not college football related, but I told everybody that Max Holloway would get it done versus Justin Gaethje via knockout. And he did it. And I felt like I was on cloud 9. I told everybody about Uncle and then the Justin Gaethje knockout before it happened. So Saturday, I was just as happy as could be.
My guy.
Chris?
Man, I'm just, it's the same thing every year, man. It's just spring, man. You know what I'm saying? Hey, because based on my spring when I was playing, I'd have been an All-American if y'all would have went out that. You know what I'm saying? I was balling in the spring. Shoot. You know what I'm saying? So
spring game All-American.
Spring game All-American.
Hey, Matt, you remember the practice All-Americans we had? Then the lights came on. So I mean, it's nothing. They're not going to show their hand, y'all. Just trust. Like Friday night, Justin, Lou, and I, we met Matt. We met the coaching staff, and man, just how confident they were, how nice, those guys didn't seem worried one bit.
No,
they didn't seem worried one bit. Those guys were so
they were telling us what they were
joking. They know what they have, man. You could tell a nervous coaching staff. They'll be like, "Oh man, what we done got ourselves into."
Yeah,
it wasn't none of that, man. They were very confident. They were very professional. They were funny. They were charismatic, and those are the type of coaches that the players would run through a wall for, So we love it, man. And like you said, man, as long you're only gonna go as far as your quarterback and your O-line takes you. And from what we saw, we're trending in the right direction. So fans, calm down. It's just a scrimmage, it's just spring, and it is what it is. We're gonna be ready, man, when August comes.
Yeah, I agree. Hop on that KDB train, man. Saban's no longer on the sidelines. You gotta at least jump and have faith in this guy. The guy knows what he's doing. Like Chris said, having to meet all the coaches and everything, I'm that much more confident in Alabama's success. Alabama's in the right hands. Shouts out to Greg Bird with Kalen DeBoer and this staff that he is put together. So, Petty, I know you kind of covered this. Is there anything you want to add to addressing the fans?
I will say I am disappointed a little bit in the fan base. I wish we could have turned out like Auburn did for their spring game and had the same enthusiasm about their program. But, one day.
Auburn claimed that was 33,000. That was not 33,000. Come on.
I don't know who counted.
I
They
thought the
can't
official
count.
There
was
weren't
13,000.
There weren't 33,000 teeth in that damn thing.
No, what they meant was they raised 33,000 at the concessions.
That's what I was thinking.
No, they
I'm
didn't.
like-
They ain't got no money.
Hell
in
no,
Auburn.
they didn't.
They said they had 33,000. I'm like, this picture does not show 33,000. I call BS.
Where? Maybe 63,000 empty.
Unless they had an Asian flick going up on the jumbotron, and Hugh got 33,000 boners. There wasn't 33,000 nothing in that
It
stadium.
was more people at the state championship game 2 years ago when Auburn hosted the state championship. It was more people in the stands then.
Well, wait,
Like,
it was more fans at Alabama's alumni flag football game than
sure was.
Auburn's spring 8A game, which is crazy.
Guys,
It surely was.
I think y'all are being a little unfair. Did you watch them last year? Would you show up? Come on now. Like, I think we're being a little bit unfair. And I'm not one to defend Auburn, but listen, when you lose to a 4-letter acronym team, depression sets in. When you lose to Maryland without Tualia Tungabailoa, depression sets in. And Peyton Thorne's the quarterback. That's not exactly inspiring confidence.
Hey,
I get it. They had one of those things that counts every time someone steps on it, and Chris just walked in a circle all day around the damn turnstile.
There was not 55,000. Stop the cap, please.
I love
they rolled the
Chris.
trees
Chris
out of the
is my
game. They
favorite.
rolled the trees out of the game, but 1 6-pack of Charmin.
Man.
Since we're roasting teams, guys, report broke that Ohio State spent $34 million in either recruiting, NIL, or to get transfer portal guys to their team
And coaches.
and coaches. $34 million. What are your thoughts on that?
Ryan Day better win. If not, he's gone.
That.
That mean what they did, they turned the oven on broil. That's all they did.
That's all
Yeah.
they did.
Better win it all.
Ty?
Yeah. So here's the interesting thing, gentlemen. I really want to do this one day. If I was to put together an Excel sheet and I had 10 coaches on there and I didn't list the coaches' names, I just went 1 through 10, coach 1 through coach 10. And I said, which one of these guys will be on the hot seat? I can guarantee nobody, just in like a blind tester, would pick Ryan Day because his win-losses are so skewed, right? Like he's won a lot of games, but that's where nuance matters. If they lose to Michigan again, after Michigan just lost all their coaches, all the stuff going on over there, he's probably gone. Like if not now, it's never, especially with the team they assembled. And listen, they got a lot of talented pieces over there, but I still have some big questions about Ohio State. And it's one of those things where it's like, listen, all well and good. You got a very talented team. Hats off to you. Very excited to see what you do. But let's be honest, if you don't win against Michigan, that could be it. And I think he knows it. There's a reason why you have Chip Kelly, offensive coordinator, right? Like the moves they've made.
Patty, Ohio State spent $34 million on their team. Auburn spent $34 million on what?
Massage parlor.
I'm gonna give you a layup.
I mean, do I need me love you long time? Just a train of them. Just a train. All different from the Orient.
We ain't gonna make it, guys.
No, man. And hoes. Massage parlors and hoes. Some Hugh.
y'all are too
Hey,
funny.
all I know they built 3 more massage parlors since Hugh Freeze been there.
Business is booming. Listen,
It's
supply
booming.
and demand.
It's a great
Simple
investment.
economics.
It's
William
a great-
Morris says it does feel strange to see DeBoer smiling and looking so happy. No, I think that's just the different disposition of the coaches.
That's what.
It's a trucker's paradise.
He's happy because he's won everywhere he's been with less talent, and he's looking around at like, holy hell, I'm about to do some shit.
Did you see the comparator of Washington Stadium for their spring game last year and Brian Denny? I'm quite sure he was like, "Oh my gosh, this is nuts! Like, this is the best job ever." So,
hey, and to further what Chris and Matt said, like when we was there on Friday night, just hearing him speak, and then the coaching staff, like just hearing what they got to say, man, they're not worried at all. If anything, they were exceeding confidence, and I mean it was confidence to a high regard. I mean, Coach Shep, when he introduced himself, got into one of the Alabama players' alumni's chest and started speaking thunder. I'm telling you what, that room was echoing. There is so much energy in a program that the nation thought was dead. And I got news for you. It ain't nothing near that. If anything, it hasn't even awoken yet. And when it does, it's going to break college football.
let's go. Let's go. Well, speaking of breaking college football, the tide will continue to roll. And more content will continue to roll on the Bama Standard. Tomorrow, you got the Crimson Dynasty with our good friends C.C. Payne, Hannah Stevens, and the one and only Dan James. They will be covering more 8A coverage. And after that, you have Teague's Take. So, listen, breaking college football, Alabama content. The Bama Standard is your number one stop for Alabama content. So, guys, how can they follow you? Chris?
Well, you can find me on Facebook at Chris K. James Sr. On Instagram. I changed my name. It's Final Whistle Chris. Dan, inspired by Dan.
I like it.
Inspired by Big Bro. You know what I'm saying? For his 50th birthday.
Oh, you said it. You said it now. Now it's Big Bro.
Well, you 50 now, dog. I can't say I'm Big Bro no more. You 50. I'm gonna put Dan's little bro. You 50, dog. I ain't trying to.
I'm a man. I'm 50.
I thought.
Wait, you're not a man till you're 50?
I'm a man. I'm 50.
Yeah, till you 50, dog. We still babies, Lou. And you can find me on Twitter on X at Coach Chris James. So I need some more followers, y'all. Y'all come and follow us. Thank you.
Ty Hayes, ATS, Around the Table Sports.
Yeah, you can find me at Around the Table Sports. I just talk into a mic every now and then.
Listen, Ty does an amazing job. Follow this guy. I look at Ty videos at least once or twice a week. You know,
you're not subscribed?
Oh yeah, I'm subscribed. It comes on my feed, on my YouTube feed for sure.
I'm subscribed.
And I'm not gonna talk about his other subscriptions that he has, but
they're very lucrative.
Amazonly.com.
Loose Don. Like
man. You can find me on X at Roloose21, Facebook and Instagram, Lucian Graves. And most importantly, you can find me on Tuesday nights, surrounded by the greatest group of guys talking about the greatest university in the history of college football. And don't forget, big shout out to the older big brother, Dan James, on his 50th birthday. I want everybody put a hand together right now for Dan. Happy birthday, Dan.
Appreciate it, bro.
Look at breaking out the moves.
Don't bring out the
making them ladies sweat.
Miss Gladys come up here and tip you.
Give him a roll on.
Yeah.
Everybody get your roll on.
Damn.
Man, listen, man. Y'all can catch me every Tuesday night right here on this very channel. You catch me Wednesday nights, Crimson Dynasty. Every Wednesday, 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 Central. You can catch me on Twitter at The Final Whistle Dan. And also you can reach me by caravan. Cross the desert like an Arab man. I don't care how you get there, just get here if you can.
They need to take the jukebox out of Waffle House. Hey, y'all know what's funny though? Before you go petty, because a year ago, man, how you find you, Dan? Well, you gotta mail me. Because Dan won't use an email. He had on Twitter.
You gotta put a note on the pigeon. You gotta put a note on the pigeon.
What do you know about postage?
Dan was the hard man.
What do you know about postage stamps?
Y'all did this, y'all the one gave me a laptop and a mic. You know what I'm saying? Y'all did it. I done blew up, y'all. I'm somebody.
Dad was the hardest man in America to find.
Oh, Dan, what you sipping on back there? You sip as
You
water.
get 2 stamps to get it to Dan's house.
Oh man, that boy is Ovaltine.
More Ovaltine, please.
Hey, now I just go to the park and play checkers now. Can I start doing that now?
Yeah.
I be the guy sitting in the corner in the barbershop playing checkers.
You gotta wait to 60 for that, Dan. You got 10 more years, bro. Now the years you go to Vegas and stuff and go bet on horse racing.
I gotta learn how to be 50 now.
Speaking of 50-year-olds, what's that one pill Frank Thomas endorses, Patty?
Saltpeter? No, Nugenics. That's it. So I went to Auburn too long.
Oh no,
syndrome.
Don't add Petty. Don't add Petty. Add Cree Williams.
Oh man, getting on my boy Chris. Man, Chris is the biggest Bama supporter out there.
Oh man, Petty, how can they reach you, sir?
Man, on the X, it's Petty_Daniel. I need to get on there more. I'm me and the X are estranged, but also Facebook. I'm there. I'm a little more. And man, here every Tuesday night with this beautiful cast of misfits. Man, best hour of the week, no doubt. Hanging out with this crazy ass crew.
It is.
And our boy Chris Williams making fun of all.
Chris Williams, bring more Auburn fans. We want more Auburn fans in the chat. That way
Chris, I feel like I'm making fun of your spring game when you're here. It's just you, just one dude. So like
kind of like the attendance at their spring game. It was just
I
pasted like 200 times.
I'd like at least a high school level attendance, of you guys to make fun of.
Maybe
you tell your jokes. You take the jokes back and tell them, nah, hey man, always good. Love you guys.
I love you all too, man. And Alabama fans, tune in next week. Final whistle, and we like to end on those last 2 words. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.
Tune in tomorrow night.
Bama Blitz.
New Mexico.
New Mexico.